Bilal, over to you. You can start.
Good evening, everyone. This is Bilal Shishgar, representing marketing team at Center Pharmaceuticals. Before we start, I just hope that everyone with their respective families are safe and sound. And I'm sure we will surpass these hard times together like we always do. So once again, welcoming all for this wonderful initiative to share knowledge. We welcome here our most valuable medical fraternity present with us tonight for our program, and we thank you wholeheartedly to show your gracious presence. This program is one of its kind coming from Centro Pharmaceuticals, and definitely we will see more such events in a near future. So, not taking much time, I will start. I will be handing over the session to one of the known face in Indian medical fraternity in psychiatric therapy, Dr. Yogesh Pugale, with a brief introduction. So, Dr. Yogesh Pugale is basically uh, MBBS and DPM psychiatric. Dr. Yogesh Pukal is also a member of Indian Psychiatric Society. So, talking about the MBBS education, so Dr. Yogesh Pukale has done MBBS from DY Dr. DY Patil Medical College, that's in Navi Mumbai, and completed in 2007. After that, he has done the diploma in psychiatry in from ND MVP Samaj Medical College, that's in Nasik in 2014. So post that, doctor has got a wonderful opportunity to work as a practicing doctor and has practiced as Yashwantrao Chavan Memorial Hospital, Pimpri Chinchwad from 2014 to 15, 1 year. After that, doctor has also been a consultant psychiatrist at Manas Vardhan De-Addiction and Psychiatric Rehabilitation Center. That's in Bilawadi from 2014, and till date, doctor is continuously practicing over there. Not only that, doctor is also actively working as a consultant psychiatrist at Accord Sant Dhyaneshwar Hospital, that's in Moshi, Pradhinkaran, from 2014 to 2017. So apart from a busy schedule, doctor is still giving time for a private practice at Boisar and Moshi. And not only that, doctor is also associated to various hospital as a consultant psychiatrist. So I welcome Dr. Yogesh Pukale, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bilal, and I welcome you all to the monthly webinar series, which is on basics of psychiatry, organized by PPA and IPS Pune branch. The series is known as Sati Hath Badana, and it has received a very good response and very well appreciated between the general practitioners, psychologists, and various paramedical staffs. Uh, it is organized on every fourth Friday of the month. Today, we are going to have a well known psychiatrist from Pune, Dr. Swapnil Deshmukh sir, on a very interesting topic known as addiction psychiatry. I will give a brief introduction for Dr. Swapnil Deshmukh sir. He is done his MBBS, MD in psychiatry, and is a fellow in Indian Psychiatric Society. He is the ex-secretary of Indian Psychiatric Society Pune branch. He has done his MBBS from JMFS ACPM Medical College in 2003 and completed MD Psychiatry from the reputed VJ Government College in Pune. He has given an opinion in the article a repetitive transcranial magnetic relief from depression, which is published in Times of India in July 2013. Expressed his opinions in article WFH triggering Marshall in Pune Mirror June 2020, and expressed his opinions in article titled Why Emotional Quotient and Intelligent Quotient in Children, published in DNA in July. Participated in many research programs in both international and national levels. So I welcome you, sir, and hand over the session to you, please.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you, Dr. Yogesh. Hello, everybody. Good evening to all. Hope everybody is fit and fine. So today we will be talking about alcohol withdrawal management. So it's going to be majorly a medical related topic, which is going to be more relevant towards targeting general population. So today's my lecture specifically is going to cover management of alcohol, specifically management of alcohol withdrawal, and how we can deal alcohol withdrawal patient in our general practice or OPD practice. So how to take decision about treatment management and how to go ahead with taking decision while dealing with alcohol withdrawal management related patients. So I welcome you all again. Next slide, Shruti. So I will start my discussion with, this case, Mr. T, 64-year lawyer with a history of 35 years of alcohol dependence syndrome. Day drinking was present. Family occupational complications were present, means he was unable to work properly because of his alcohol addiction. He was losing his cases and schedule because of alcohol and related complications. So even family disputes and issues inside family because of alcohol and related complications were present. Recently, he was diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes. So family doctor urged him and his family member that he should quit his drinking habit. On day 3, he presented in emergency department of a general hospital with a history of irrelevant talk. He was talking irrelevantly, continuously, fearful and perplexed affect. Perplexed means more confused affect. Sweating profusely, his hands and body was trembling like anything. He was not slept for almost around 2 days. He was aggressive, running around, shouting, and needs to be restrained to control. On examination, he was disoriented to time, place, and person. His orientation was fluctuating. Sometimes he used to recognize his relative, but then otherwise he was completely disoriented to even time, place, and sometimes people also. Fluctuations in blood pressure as well as respiratory rate and pulse rate was noticed. In physical examination, he was dehydrated. He was reporting auditory and visual hallucination. He was reporting that he could see few people torturing him, shouting at him, police coming in and trying to arrest him, and auditory and visual hallucinations of these kinds were there. He was very afraid of these hallucinations and was trying to run away because he was feeling that people were trying to catch hold of him and trying to kill him. Mark of restraints were there on his hands because he was to be restrained to control his aggression and running away behavior. So this is how typically a delirium patient present in withdrawal. So alcohol withdrawal, how exactly patient could present to us? 6 to 8 hours, they present with shakes, that is tremors, hand tremors. We call it as an alcohol jitters or shakes. Within 8 to 12 hours of alcohol abstinence, they usually present with psychotic symptoms like hallucinations and perceptual disturbances. After abstinence of 12 to 24 hours in alcohol dependence syndrome, they throw withdrawal fit or GTCC, alcohol withdrawal seizure, what we call it. And over a period of 24 to 72 hours of alcohol withdrawal or severe withdrawal, what we call, they usually present with delirium tremens. We call it as an withdrawal delirium also. So that's how alcohol withdrawal patient present to us with a timeline. So usually, initially they start with tremulousness and it can get complicated in severe withdrawal up to delirium tremens. Other symptoms include irritability, GI upset. They usually present with acidity, unable to eat properly, loss of appetite, vomiting, nausea, anxiety symptoms, sweating profusely, as I say, discuss in case, facial flushing, tachycardia, and fluctuations in their biofunctions. Next slide, please. So now when this kind of patient present to us in our general practice or on OPD basis, how we are going to deal with that? So definitely we need to take certain decisions, and decisions need to be taken based on clinical presentation. So first decision that we have to take when this kind of patient or alcohol withdrawal patient present to us is whether we are going to manage these patients or this particular patient on OPD basis or indoor patient treatment is required. definitely deciding about OPD management or indoor management, it is based on certain parameters like severity of alcohol use, how much, how long, what quantity he used to consume, so that we can predict severity of withdrawal symptom. Again, risk of withdrawal, physical health of patient, like if patient is already been physically compromised, his liver function, kidney function are already been compromised, he is heavily diabetic, uncontrolled diabetic patient is there. So again, indoor management is better. Support system available, whether family members available to support patient are going to be adequately supporting patient if we try managing this patient on OPD basis. Motivation of patient, if patient is enoughly motivated to quit alcohol or not, otherwise he will go back and again start drinking. And history about past attempt to quit. So all these factors are going to make a significant impression on our decision making, whether to deal or treat this patient on OPD basis or whether he is going to require indoor admission. So how to evaluate all these points? History taking is most important in these patients then. So depending on history, if we need to evaluate, because longer the duration of alcohol intake or dependency and more the amount, alcohol withdrawal is going to be severe, and it is always better that we manage severe patient in-house or in indoor patient facility where ICU setup is available preferably, because delirium patients are better to be managed in ICU because the risk of death or fatality risk is high. So history taking is most important. Amount of drinking, कि ये definitely कितना पीता था. Now definitely patient is not going to give you exact history about amount, how much he used to drink. अगर patient बता रहा है कि वो एक पेग पीता है तो definitely that is not true. अगर वो बोल रहा है कि एक क्वार्टर पी रहा है, try to cross check that with his family members or friend circle if history is available. History from patient about amount of drinking is totally unreliable. So इसमें दो तीन चीजें हम लोग कर सकते हैं कि हम लोग उनको यूजुअली ask them कि भैया कितनी कौन सी दारू पीते हो, बियर पीते हो, विस्की पीते हो, ताड़ी पीते हो या देसी पीते हो, and then we ask them कि how much you spend on a daily basis on drinking. So that will give you a rough idea कि exact amount of drinking कितना है, but then for that you need to know कि rate कितने होते हैं drinks के. So you need to approximately know कि beer कितनी cost करती है, या even local drink अगर वो कोई ले रहे हैं तो how much it cost for. So that is one important thing that you should cross check with कि कितने amount की दारू पीते हो या कितने रुपए की दारू पीते हो, कौन सी दारू पीते हो. Then second thing, कितने सालों से दारू पी रहे हो. Again, यूजुअली लोग बोलते हैं पिछले 2 सालों से डेली ड्रिंकिंग कर रहा हूं या 3 सालों से, whereas history is quite long, duration is quite long. So you can correlate that history with the life events like दारू आपने कब शुरू की, कॉलेज से शुरू की या शादी के बाद से शुरू की, बच्चा कितना बड़ा था जब से आप दारू ले रहे हो. So that will help you in understanding exact duration of alcohol drinking pattern, क्योंकि यूजुअली पेशेंट का जो हिस्ट्री directly आपको पेशेंट से मिलता है, that is not relevant. Always consider history from close relative as a more relevant history than that of direct history from patient. So why this is duration and amount of drinking का history, quality या type of drinking का history is more important, because उसमें जो है आप severity of withdrawal predict कर सकते हैं. If ज्यादा है तो withdrawal ज्यादा severe होने वाला है. If longer the duration of drinking pattern है तो severity of withdrawal ज्यादा होने वाला है. Even day drinking, अगर day drinking है, binge drinking pattern है तो severity of withdrawal ज्यादा होने वाला है. So in this case आप patient को better है indoor कर लो rather than dealing with them on OPD basis. As I said, age of onset, early age of onset, like childhood age of onset or adulthood age of onset of drinking is considered to be more complicated one, and better you admit them in indoor setup. Other medical complication, as I said, liver pathology, renal pathology, और बाकी मेडिकल हिस्ट्री क्या है, अकॉर्डिंगली यू कैन डिसाइड अबाउट वेदर यू कुड मैनेज patient over OPD basis or indoor admission is going to be required. And if patient is having multiple addictions like cannabis भी है, अल्कोहल भी है और बाकी ड्रग्स भी है, बेंजोडाइजेपिन्स भी साथ में ले रहा है नींद के लिए, लोराज़ेपाम या अल्प्राजोलाम भी साथ में चल रही है विद ड्रिंकिंग, सो ऑलवेज बेटर टू एडमिट पेशेंट एंड मैनेज हिम ऑन indoor basis rather than OPD basis. So this history is relevant to decide कि पेशेंट का अल्कोहल अमाउंट और सिविरिटी कितनी थी एंड वेदर ही इज गोइंग टू गेट सिवियर विड्रॉल और माइल्ड विड्रॉल. नो पास्ट हिस्ट्री, व्हाई इट इज रेलेवेंट. इससे दो तीन चीजें हमें जो पता चलती है कि पिछले बार दारू छोड़ने की कोशिश उसने करी थी कि नहीं करी थी. अगर दारू छोड़ने की कोशिश करी थी तो अटेम्प्ट कितना सीरियस था, वेदर ही ट्राइड हिज लेवल बेस्ट. अगर नहीं तो दिस टाइम यू कैन मॉडिफाई सर्टेन ट्रीटमेंट मोडालिटीज, काउंसलिंग को ज्यादा आप थोड़ा सा एग्रेसिव कर सकते हो टू पुश हिम और टू मोटिवेट हिम मोर. अगेन पास्ट हिस्ट्री ऑफ अटेम्प्ट जो है वो कितने देर दिन तक के वो छोड़ पाया था, अगेन दैट विल हेल्प यू कि कितने हद तक के पेशेंट जो है वो मोटिवेटेड रह सकता है. एंड व्हेन यू नीड टू कंसिडर एज एन रिस्क फैक्टर कि 3 महीने के बाद में अगर रिलैप्स हुआ है तो यू नीड टू बी मोर केयरफुल अराउंड 3 मंथ पीरियड, ताकि आप ज्यादा उस टाइम के ऊपर फोकस कर पाओ. सिविरिटी ऑफ विड्रॉल लास्ट अटेम्प्ट में कितना था. अगेन अगर लास्ट अटेम्प्ट जब उसने किया था टू क्विट अल्कोहल, अगर उस वक्त भी डिलीरियम था या विड्रॉल सीजर आया था, तो यू नीड टू टेक दैट मोर सीरियसली एंड प्रिकॉशनरी आप उसको एडमिट करके ट्रीट करो, कंसिडरिंग पास्ट हिस्ट्री ऑफ सिवियर विड्रॉल and period of abstinence, as I said. So this past history is more relevant. Again, it will help you in decision making whether to deal with patient on OPD basis or in indoor setup. Medical history, alcoholism में usually liver functions are impaired, so get his liver function checked on clinical evaluation. If you suspect that liver is dearranged, liver functions are dearranged, ascites है, jaundice है, on clinical evaluation, better to admit patient and deal with him on indoor basis. Neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, again better to admit and manage patient on indoor basis. Psychiatric problem hai, like he is having severe anxiety, depression or some other psychiatric comorbidity like schizophrenia or bipolarity or some severe personality disorder related condition, better to admit him and deal with him on indoor basis. Again, alcoholic patients are usually nutritionally compromised. ये लोग जो है ये यूजुअली न्यूट्रिशनल डिफिशियंसी होती है, खाना बराबर से नहीं खाते, प्रोटीन डिफिशियंसी होती है, मल्टीविटामिन डिफिशियंसी होती है. So if patient is cachexic, having nutritional deficiency, it is always better we admit him, correct nutritional deficiency, and then manage him on OPD basis after discharge. So all this medical history is very relevant while deciding whether to manage patient on indoor basis or outdoor. And family history, like genetic predisposition of alcohol or alcohol addiction or psychiatric disorder or suicide is one thing that you need to consider before taking decision about admitting patient or managing him on OPD basis. So ये जो सारे factors है ये हमें OPD basis में जब patient पहली बार हमारे पास में आया, motivation that he want to quit, हमें हेल्प करेंगे टू डिसाइड कि पेशेंट जो है उसको. श्रुति, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. Yes. So if finally we decided to manage this patient on OPD basis, so how to go ahead with treatment, that is intervention, how to detoxify him on OPD basis, and how to include him in rehabilitation process. So first thing that is most important is motivational counseling. If patient is motivated, if support system is good, we are, we can go ahead with OPD basis, OPD based management for this withdrawal case. When mild withdrawal is suspected, like in mild addiction, patient is in good physical health, mental health भी उसका अच्छा है, and ड्यूरेशन ऑफ एडिक्शन इज लेस, पास्ट विड्रॉल सिम्टम ज्यादा सीवियर नहीं थे, माइनर सिम्टम्स थे लाइक ट्रेमलेसनेस एंड स्वेटिंग एंड रेस्टलेसनेस. So definitely these are ideal patients to be managed on OPD basis. So what to treat? Number one is craving. Yes, we have good anti-craving agents which we will be discussing at last. So we can manage them with anti-craving agent and we can take care of craving part. Withdrawal, yes, mild withdrawal, भले ही वो mild हो, लेकिन we need to take care that patient remain comfortable when he is undergoing mild withdrawal management. And then we take care of his milder withdrawal management symptoms. He sleeps adequately. Most common complaint जो patient का रहता है कि सर मैं दारू इसलिए पीता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे अच्छी नींद नहीं आती. So you need to take care that patient sleeps adequately without alcohol, so that उसका जो reason for relapse है, reason for alcohol intake है, उसको आप target करो ताकि वो justify नहीं कर पाए relapse के लिए. And then taking care of nutrition, taking care of other medical and psychological conditions on OPD basis. Like if he's having anxiety disorder or anxiety के symptoms है, तो definitely you need to manage anxiety properly. आपको anxiety उसकी address करनी पड़ेगी because anxiety की वजह से भी बहुत सारे लोग alcohol की तरफ जाते हैं. Or if he is feeling depressed, you need to address his depression with antidepressants and counseling or CBT, so that alcohol जो है उसके तरफ as a treatment वो ना देखे या as a stress relief वो ना देखे. So all these issues needs to be addressed properly to take care of or to prevent relapse in OPD basis management. Next slide, please. Okay, लेकिन if you are suspecting severe withdrawal or delirium is expected, withdrawal seizures are present or you are expecting withdrawal seizure considering his past history, it is always better to admit these patients in indoor setup where you have ICU facility available, because delirium should be ideally managed in ICU setup. Other medical and psychological treatment, अगर intervention required है, patient aggressive है, patient uncooperative है, patient is having other psychotic symptoms or mood swings or mood symptoms or other medical reason है, तो better to admit patient, hospitalize him, so that we have treating physician also available and psychiatrist can take care of withdrawal part and physician can take care of medical management. If patient is less motivated, this is more important, because see, when patient is trying to quit alcohol, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, सबसे जरूरी ये है कि उसका मोटिवेशन अगर अच्छा है तो हम लोग उसको ओपीडी बेसिस के ऊपर ट्रीट कर सकते हैं. If he is going to get into a routine setup जहाँ पे वही रास्ता है, वही घर है, वही दारू का दुकान है, वही फ्रेंड सर्कल अराउंड है, तो डेफिनेटली दो ही इज मोटिवेटेड इनिशियली, लॉन्ग रन में मोटिवेशन सस्टेन करना, वही एक्सपोजर, वही क्यूज उसको मिलते रहते हैं क्यूज, सो उसके वजह से रिलैप्स के चांसेस जो है वो ज्यादा रहते हैं. सो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर दैट यू नो if you feel that patient is not motivated enough or if surrounding is not very supportive, better to admit him or hospitalize him and take care of his withdrawal or in indoor setup. Again, suicide risk, agar patient depressed hai, if you see that patient is suicidal या past history of suicidal attempt hai, so it is always better to admit him and take care of this kind of patient on indoor basis rather than treating him on OPD basis. So hospitalization is essential or should be recommended in this pattern of patients जहाँ पे safety and other medical management के लिए it is always better to manage patients on OPD basis, indoor basis. Next slide, please. So pharmacological intervention, whether you are dealing with patient on OPD basis or on indoor basis, benzodiazepines plays major role in withdrawal management. So commonly available benzodiazepines जो periphery में भी available है, they are nothing but Librium, that is fluordiazepoxide, which is available in doses of 10 milligram and 25 milligram as a tablet form. अदर कॉमन जो अवेलेबल बेंजोडाइजेपिन है वो है लोराजिपाम, that is AT1, which is commonly available in the doses of 1 milligram and 2 milligram tablet, also available in injectable form. Chlordiazepoxide is not available in injectable form. And third commonest available जो benzodiazepine है in all pharmacy usually available रहता है, that is Compose, that is diazepam, which is also available in injectable and as well as tablet form. Tablet is available in doses of 5 milligram and 10 milligram of diazepam tablet. So these benzodiazepines are commonly used in dealing with alcohol withdrawal patient. I prefer using chlordiazepoxide considering its longer half-life. So chlordiazepoxide, even on OPD basis, I usually start with 25 milligram tablet. मैं दिन में usually 4 बार देता हूँ because you know, if you control withdrawal symptoms adequately, भले ही पेशेंट शुरुआत में 1 या 2 दिन थोड़ा ड्राउजी फील करे, it makes him more feel comfortable, sleep अच्छी रहती है. So 100 milligram of chlordiazepoxide, that is Librium tablet in divided dose, is more helpful. So start with a higher doses usually. You can review patient on day 2 if you are dealing with him on OPD basis. आप उसको OPD basis पे chlordiazepoxide up to 100 milligram अगर mild withdrawal expected है तो, और lorazepam up to 8 to 10 milligram दे सकते हो. These are 2 commonly used oral tablets that you can use. Keep night doses on a higher side so that it will help patient in sleeping properly at night, or withdrawal symptoms night में ज़्यादा रहते हैं. So keep doses high in evening time or at night, and call patient next day if you are dealing with him on OPD basis. Next day पे आपको ये judge करना है कि how much sleep is there, whether patient was excessively drowsy with given doses or he was not very comfortable, withdrawal symptoms were still there. So depending on that, you can adjust doses accordingly. You can either increase or decrease doses and then again monitor patient on OPD basis. So this is what usually we do when we are dealing with patients on OPD basis. We can also use anti-craving agents, like I prefer using acamprosate, which is available in a doses of 333 milligram, 2 tablet in morning, 2 tablet in afternoon, and 2 tablet in evening. Very effective and very good anti-craving agent. Other anti-craving agent जो हम लोग यूज करते हैं उसमें है टोपाज या टोपिरामेट, बैक्लोफेन, बैक्लोफ OD 20 milligram a day, or Naltima, that is naltrexone. All these are very good anti-craving agent. You can decide depending on physical state, tolerability, and your own choice. I personally feel that almost all are equally effective. Naltrexone 50 milligram that we usually use is opioid antagonist, is slightly more effective than other anti-craving agents. Nutritional supplements and electrolyte, you need to take care of hypoglycemia or hyponatremia or hypomagnesemia, which is very common in alcohol withdrawal patients. So you know, get it tested and manage them. अगर severe changes है तो better to admit patient and manage it in indoor setup. Disulfiram is another tablet जो अल्कोहल के साथ में मेटाबॉलिज्म के लिए कॉम्पीट करता है, और it block alcohol metabolism. So increases aldehyde level in body, which is a factor जो discomfort cause करता है हमारे pH balance में, and patient feel uneasy, flushing, tremors, palpitations, nausea, vomiting, and panic-like episodes are very common when they consume alcohol on top of disulfiram. So it gives antabuse-like reaction, which is not very, they don't feel very comfortable combining alcohol and disulfiram together. So disulfiram is a very good molecule. If patient is motivated, you can take a good written consent from patient, inform relative adequately, and then start with disulfiram. एडवांटेज ये है कि पेशेंट को जब पता होता है कि डाइसल्फिराम की गोली के साथ में अगर वो ड्रिंक लेते हैं तो उसका रिएक्शन आ सकता है, and that keep them motivated enough in evening time when craving is more, because disulfiram is usually prescribed in morning and afternoon time when they are more motivated to take or quit alcohol and take medicine. And evening time when they feel like drinking, एक डर रहता है कि मैंने disulfiram सुबह ली है तो I might get severe reaction. So they prefer not consuming alcohol because of fear of getting reaction. So it worked well on OPD basis management. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I said, chlordiazepoxide I usually, that is Librium chlordiazepoxide, I use doses. I start with 25 milligram, give tablet every 4 hourly till patient feels sedated, and then decide dose accordingly. Because हर एक का बेंजोडाइजेपिन का टॉलरेंस अलग अलग होता है, अमाउंट ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग अलग अलग होती है. So it is always better to start with 25 milligram, repeat dose every 4 hourly, monitor sedation, and then depending on that, when patients start feeling sedated, you can calculate their daily doses of oral tablet of Librium or chlordiazepoxide. Diazepam, same 5 to 20 milligram every 6 hourly. Lorazepam 2 to 10 milligram every 6 hourly, depending on dose requirement based on sedation that they get and amount of drinking or severity of withdrawal that they have. Diazepam and lorazepam, as I said, are also available in IV or intramuscular form. Diazepam is available, even lorazepam also. I prefer giving them sustained release or slow push IV techniques, जो sustained drug level maintain करते हैं drug. So the chances of delirium minimize हो जाते हैं उसके वजह से. So that's how you manage delirium in indoor patient basis. But then I prefer, even if patient is admitted, even if he is indoor, unless and until he is not in ICU, I prefer using chlordiazepoxide oral tablet rather than injectable. And I prefer giving high doses of chlordiazepoxide in preventing and managing withdrawal delirium. It is always better to prevent delirium. So give them adequate doses to start with rather than treating delirium, because once patients gets into delirium, it is very difficult to manage them. And dose requirement and duration spent in delirium is quite disturbing. So it is always better to prevent delirium rather than treating delirium. So treat them with adequate doses to start with. Next slide, please. So how to treat delirium? Delirium needs to be treated in indoor patient basis, specifically in ICU setup if it is available, preferably. Prevention, as I said, prevention is always better, because once patient gets into delirium, then you're not sure how long he will take to come out of delirium completely. Usually, averagely, patients take 3 days to come out of delirium. Benzodiazepines are, again, category of choice to be used in a delirium patient. As I said, I prefer using chlordiazepoxide orally, even if patient is admitted. But then when he is in delirium, lorazepam injectable can be used IV slowly to treat delirium patient till he feels drowsy, and then you can monitor vitals when he is sedated. Carbamazepine in a doses of 600 to 800 milligram a day can be used in treating delirium, not as an anti-epileptic, but then to control delirium symptoms or for early recovery of delirium. Treat dehydration adequately. Avoid antipsychotics because they have anticholinergic actions which can precipitate or worsen delirium. Adequate restraints, safe restraints are useful, but then take care that patient will not get hurt when they are restrained. So it should be adequately padded at multiple points so that there is minimum injury to patient, and take consent before restraining patient from relative. Next slide, please. So amnestic disorder, again, so many times in chronic alcohol addiction, patients do present with amnesia and related disorders, which is secondary to thiamine deficiency. Wernicke's encephalopathy and Korsakoff psychosis or Korsakoff syndrome is very common in chronic alcoholic. Wernicke's is completely reversible, but then if not taken care on time, they can progress into Korsakoff syndrome. That is a chronic condition, and only 20% people or 20% of patient in Korsakoff recover or it is reversible. So you need to identify it early and you need to deal with these patients on time. It's a triad where you see ataxia, confusion, and nystagmus. So how to define this amnestic disorder or Wernicke's encephalopathy or Korsakoff syndrome? By ataxia, gait disturbances, confusion, that is disorientation, nystagmus, other ocular symptoms are very common, and memory problems are universal. How to treat them? IV thiamine is preferred in initial phases of treatment when patient is indoor. 100 milligram IV every day, or you can go up to 200 milligram per day. Oral 200 to 300 milligram thiamine tablet on a daily basis on long run is recommended when patient is presenting with Wernicke's or Korsakoff symptoms. In Wernicke's, averagely 3 months treatment is advisable. Korsakoff, you need to continue treatment for a year or so. So long-term treatment is recommended when patient is in Korsakoff syndrome. Next slide, please. So anti-craving agent, if patient is managed adequately on indoor basis or he settles down on OPD basis treatment, you manage his withdrawal properly either on OPD basis or on indoor basis. Then at the time of discharge or when you are planning your treatment on a long-term basis, you need to consider these options. Treating with disulfiram or any other anti-craving agent. So disulfiram I prefer if patient is ready to give consent so that you are safer on a legal side. So take proper consent and you can prescribe disulfiram tablet, which is available in the doses of 250 milligram to 500 milligram. Usual recommended doses are 250 milligram to 750 milligram per day. You can continue disulfiram up to 3 months to 6 months and then stop it depending on motivation level and other parameters. If you relapse chances are minimum, then you can think of tapering down disulfiram early as well. Naltrexone is a very good anti-craving agent. Let's start with 50 milligram a day, and if patient is affordable, continue it on a long run up to 3 months or 6 months. Naltrexone, only limitation with naltrexone is, I think, cost of treatment, because the cost of treatment goes almost up to 2,000 rupees a month. So you need to be, choose patient accordingly. Patient is affordable. Naltrexone is a very good anti-craving agent on long run. Acamprosate, again, cost of treatment is high because you need to give 6 tablets in a day. But then it is also a very good option or alternate option to naltrexone. Others are, like I said, topiramate or baclofen, which are also a very good anti-craving agent to be continued on a OPD basis for 3 to 6 month period when patient is doing OPD based follow-up. On OPD basis treatment, you need to also take care that your counselor is involved and you are continuously supporting patient emotionally, taking care of his other psychological needs, motivating him continuously, and addressing his other factors which could precipitate his relapse adequately. So relapse prevention medicine, as per my personal experience, plays minimum role, but then a good therapy and counselor can help him, motivating enough to encourage him to, quit drinking on a long run. And groups like A group and other groups can definitely help him in quitting alcohol and sustaining abstinence on a longer run. Next slide, please. Next slide. So thank you very much. Yogesh, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Swapnil sir, for explaining such a complicated topic like alcohol dependence in a very simplified way. I hope your practical inputs help everyone today. And I think we'll take the question answer sessions at the end of the session. Now we come to the second session. We'll introduce our second speaker, Dr. Balchandra Kalmik sir, on the similar topic of addiction psychiatry. Uh, I will introduce Dr. Kalmik sir. Dr. Kalmik sir, Dr. Balchandra Kalmik has completed his uh, MBBS, DPM, and MD, and is a consultant psychiatric at Man Clinic Pune and Nirman Psychiatric Nursing Rehabilitation and De-Addiction Center Pune. Is ex-honorary treasurer and secretary of IPS Pune branch and EC member of IIPS Western branch. Worked in Masina Hospital, Mumbai in the Department of Psychiatry. Worked in prestigious KM Hospital, Mumbai, the Department of Psychiatry, and worked in SKNMC, Pune as an advisor for Mental Health Awareness Forum. He has also presented various papers in annual National Conference of Indian Psychiatric Society. He has presented 2 international paper publications on major depressive disorder in Hindavi Asian Journal of Psychiatry. He is the chief editor of the book MHCA 2017, Together We Can. He is the member of Indian Psychiatric Society, Pune Psychiatric Society, All India Association of Private Psychiatrists, American Association of Psychiatry, Indian Sexology Association, charter member of Rotary Club of Addiction Prevention, founder member of SMART, and many more organizations. He takes active participation in local, state, zonal level CMEs and conferences as an organizing and committee member. So, Dr. Kalmik sir, over to you for the next session, please.
Yeah, thank you, Yogesh. Thank you very much. I will share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So welcome you all. I am Dr. Balchandra, practicing at Pune. History of substance use. Now, up till now, we have seen about alcohol use and its treatment. Now we will see about the other substances which are of addiction. History of mankind. History of substance use is as old as mankind. Basically, why human being get addicted? The reason is very basic. As a species, we are very weak, and as we evolve the most, we become more vulnerable to stress. And to reduce this stress, one become addicted. And these are the some facts about the addiction. Mankind cannot bear much of the reality, so there is always urge to hide the reality, and so one become addicted. Now today's topic is overview of the cannabis and opioids. We will discuss mainly about cannabis and opium. Along with that, we will also discuss about stimulant, hallucinogens, inhalants, club drugs, designer drugs, and party rape drugs. Now, why this topic is different from alcohol dependence? Because all these have dangerous and different intoxication, withdrawal, and dependence pattern. Along with that, they causes severe structural brain changes. There are more comorbid psychiatric conditions. They are difficult to treat and they need long-term treatment. Plus, all these substances, that is drugs, have severe biopsychosocial, financial, and legal problems. Even the gods are different for them. We basically know that Somrasa, the god is Lord Indra, and in Bhang or Ganja, the Lord is Lord Shiva. So the gods are also different. And what is the magnitude of substances in India? And this is the report published by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. It says that in all these substances, about 20% of the use is engaged in all these substances. So we will discuss about cannabis. Cannabis, we all know it is charas or ganja. It is a drug that comes from Indian hemp plants known as cannabis sativa or cannabis indica. The main active chemical in cannabis is THC, that is tetrahydrocannabinol. Mainly, when a patient comes to us, they call all these drugs by street name. They will not call that I am consuming cannabis or marijuana. They will call it as pot, weed, grass, ganja, charas, bhang, 420 or Aunt Mary. So while eliciting the history, we should know all these street names. Cannabis, it comes in as a marijuana or hashish. Marijuana is little bit diluted form. It comes under 0.5 to 5% THC, mainly from dried leaves or flowering tops. And hashish, it is a dried resin or flowers. How they consume cannabis? Mainly by smoking and eat food also. We know that in the Holi festival, we eat bhang and it is eaten along with some samosas or pakoras. It is also taken with the tea or in tonic or tinctures. So cannabinoid receptors are present all over the brain except respiratory centers. So uh, the cannabis control all the brain and it effects is within minutes. Peak is reached in 30 minutes and last for the 2 to 4 hours. So when can we suspect cannabis use or what are the signs and symptoms of the cannabis use? One will have red eyes, there will be craving from munchies and sweets. There will be academic deterioration, there will be trouncing, that is मुलं पळून जातात शाळेतनं. Trips to the bathroom, sudden change in the behavior and aloofness. What is the effect of cannabis after consumption? Patient will feel euphoria. There will be change in perception. There will be change in attention and memory, intensified sensory experience. There will be anxiety, psychosis, amotivation syndrome, and finally dementia. Cannabis withdrawal is mainly psychological. There will be severe irritability, craving for the cannabis, nervousness, anxiety, insomnia, impaired sleep, and appetite. There will be vivid dreams. Along with this, there will be depression, headache, and sweating tremors. So, when we see any cannabis plant, it is very important to identify the cannabis plant because many plants looks like cannabis, and sometimes we plant these as a showcase plants in our homes. So, this is the cannabis plant. Now, next we will come to the opioids. Opioids म्हणजे अफू. Opioids are the class of drug derived from dried latex, often from opium poppy. This is the typical afu bond. Opioids comes as natural opioids and synthetic opioids. Natural opioids are morphine and codeine, and synthetic opioids are heroin and methadone. So these are the some street name of the opioids. Opium, Big O on Chandu or black pill. Morphine, it is also known as M, Miss Emma and Monkey. Codeine we all know it is a cough syrup. Heroin, smack or brown sugar. Methadone is dolly or dolls. Fentanyl tablets. Murder 8. And hydrocodone, that is Vico, Hydro or Vicks. So how opium is consumed? Morphine is consumed as injections. It is also consumed as oral solution, tablets and capsules. And how heroin is consumed? It is consumed as white or brown powder. It is injected or snorted. There is a black tar heroin. It is melted down, injected into the veins and smoke. You must have all seen this in movies. Another method of consumption of opium is codeine syrup, that is syrup or tablets. And methadone. Methadone is also a purer form of opium. It is consumed as tablets or injectable solution. So what are the, when we can suspect opium abuse, there will be behavioral symptoms. Now what these people do, they will lie about their pain and receive prescription from opioids. म्हणजे एका डॉक्टर जवळ गेलं, एका डॉक्टरकडनं दुसऱ्या डॉक्टरकडे जाते. म्हणजे एकच प्रिस्क्रिप्शन ते दोन डॉक्टरांकडनं लिहून घेतील. They will make appointments for the multiple different doctors and receive multiple prescriptions for the opium, so that they can consume more opium in a day. There will be poor performance in work. There will be unexplained period of the absenteeism. फार ते सुट्ट्या घेतील. Isolates oneself from friend and family members. Stealing medication from one another. But with the physical symptoms, there will be noticeable change in personal appearance. फार shabby दिसायला लागतात. There will be the weight loss or change in the hygiene. There will be the scabs, sores, and puncture wounds suggestive of the IV drug use. Poor motor coordination and coordination. There will be digestive problem like vomiting or diarrhea. They will complain about the nausea, and the pupils on general examination will be constricted. Then cognitive symptoms. Thinking will be slowed. There will be impairment in judgment and problem solving. They will feel detached from surrounding, and there will be difficulty in concentration. And psychological symptoms will be emotional swings, sudden unprovoked obstructions, irritability, depression, and paranoia. These are the opioid reward system. They increases dopamine. So as they increase the dopamine, there will be the more craving with each shot of the opium. And these are the typical withdrawal symptoms of the opium. It is also known as cold turkey. There will be muscle cramp, bone ache. There will be diarrhea, abdominal cramps. There will be the running nose, then lacrimation, yawning, goosebumps, dilated pupils, and autonomic nervous system imbalance. That is temperature dysregulation. There will be high temperature or low temperature, blood BP fluctuation, and others. And yawning is also the one of the withdrawal symptom of the opium. Now there is one rule, that is Penrose rule, which states that population size of the prison and psychiatric hospitals are inversely proportional. So drug addiction, whether it is alcohol addiction or drug addiction, all these people land up either in hospital or ultimately in the jail. So what primary physician can do now? First, we have to take the history of substance use properly. Age of onset, psychological factors, when he is developing tolerance. We have to ask about his craving, about his frequent use, and escalating the dose. Now we have to know about basic terminology. That is, what is tolerance, what is dependence, and what is craving. Craving means talab. Typical जे आपल्याला तलब होते त्याला craving म्हणतात. What is then dependence? When person depends on any substance, that is त्याच्याशिवाय त्याचं भागत नाही, त्याला म्हणतात dependence. आणि टॉलरन्स म्हणजे सबस्टन्सची घ्यायची मात्रा जर वाढत राहिली तर त्याला टॉलरन्स म्हणतात. म्हणजे अल्कोहोलमध्ये जर आपण 1 क्वार्टर घेत असतो तर काही दिवसांनी त्याच्यात 2 क्वार्टर घ्यायला लागतात. कधी कधी अफूच्या एका शॉटमध्ये काम होते तर तेच काम त्याला 2-3 शॉट घ्यायला लागतात. त्याच्यानंतर आपल्याला बघायला लागते इफ स्विच, दॅट इज आयव्ही यूज आहे का, किंवा आधी जर स्नॉटिंग करायच्या नंतर आयव्ही यूज करायला लागला का, साईट ऑफ द यूज. समटाइम वी हॅव टू ऍक्सेस फॉर द हाय रिस्क एरिया ऑल्सो. आता काय होते, हाताच्या व्हेन्स जर त्याच्या संपल्या, पायाच्या व्हेन्स संपल्या, तर त्या मानेच्या व्हेन्स पण अल्कोहोल आपला ओपीएम इंजेक्टेबल वापरायसाठी हे वापरतात. त्यामुळे असे एरियाज पण आपल्याला बघायला लागते. व्हॉट इज द पॅटर्न ऑफ करंट यूज. वी हॅव टू आस्क अबाउट मनी स्पेंड पर डे. We have to ask about the gram or pudi use, how long they are using, daily frequency काय आहे ते पण बघायला लागते. Route, that is whether they are snorting or whether they are taking is intravenous. Minimum dose to avoid withdrawal, and overdose history. So one has to take history of the substance use very properly. Many times it happens that these people use multiple substances. म्हणजे cannabis पण यूज करतात, ओपीएम पण यूज करतात, आणि other substances पण यूज करतात. Whether they are using other substitutes. What happens if they are not used? म्हणजे त्यांना withdrawal येतो का, किंवा बाकीचे काही symptoms येतात का, हे पण बघायला लागते. Whether there is history of past abstinence. तर past abstinence काय आहे, पैसे नाहीत म्हणून आहे, काही फॅमिली प्रॉब्लेम आहेत म्हणून आहे, हॉस्पिटलायझेशन झालंय म्हणून आहे, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपल्याला बघायला लागतात. How is use funded? Main source of मनी काय आहे ते पण बघायला लागतं. म्हणजे घरचे लोक देतात, आई वडील पुरवतात की मित्र पुरवतात की चोऱ्या करतो, ह्या पण आपल्याला गोष्टी बघायला लागतात. वी हॅव टू ऑल्सो आस्क अबाउट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ क्राईम. आता बऱ्याच वेळेस काय होते की सबस्टन्स घेतल्याने जवळपास सगळा पैसा खर्च होतो. मग ते क्राईम्स, क्रिमिनल ऍक्टिव्हिटीज मध्ये एंगेज होतात पैसे मिळवायसाठी आणि खूप वेळा पोलीस कंप्लेंट्स पण होतात. देअर इज ऑलवेज हाय रिस्क बिहेवियर, दॅट इज निडल प्रॅक्टिस, सगळ्यांची निडलची शेअर करतात. देअर इज अनप्रोटेक्टेड सेक्शुअल ऍक्टिव्हिटीज ऑल्सो. आता आपल्याला वी हॅव टू डू अर्ली डिटेक्शन. We know that early prevention is the best cure. So we have to detect all these cases in early stage. We have to find out the age of onset. Patient may seek help from the physical problem without revealing about the addiction. Many times it happens that these people come to the general physician for withdrawal symptoms or dependence symptoms. So in every patient, every school going child, we have to ask about the history of any addiction. All these people do multiple consultation, doctor shopping to get the prescription from many doctors. They always do overdosing. There will be the poor concentration in the studies, scholastic backwardness, truancy, frequent bathroom visits. So if the parents or if the patient is giving such history, we have to think about the substance dependence or the alcohol dependence, mainly in young age population. So how can we detect? On general examination we can find all these signs. That is, IV drug use असले तर signs बघायचे किंवा there will be the hesitation mark, burn four fingers in the chasing or increased expenses, stealing, inhalation respiratory problem असला तर inhalants use करतात का हे पण आपण बघायला पाहिजे. This is the typical risk cut. So Swapnil sir has explained in detail about the medical management of alcohol withdrawal, dependence pattern, and anti-craving medication. Treatment of all these substances is very specialized branch. So what primary physician can do at the primary level, they can give basic antipsychotic like olanzapine or Serenase, that is haloperidol, or they can use some benzodiazepines like lorazepam for behavioral management. Or they can do the symptomatic management, that is IV fluid or multivitamins. So when a patient need hospitalization, basically they need hospitalization when the patient is in denial or when he takes overdose or in severe withdrawal. When there is withdrawal and reuse is expected, poor or no attempt of the abstinence, म्हणजे पेशंट यायलाच तयार नाही दवाखान्यात, अशा वेळेस आपण जास्त प्रयत्न करायला पाहिजे. When there is multiple drug use or when there is a comorbid psychiatric condition, हे तर रूलच आहे की when there is substance dependence apart from alcohol, there is generally comorbid psychiatric condition or there is suicidal threat or homicidal threat or violence. Now we will see in a rush about other substances like inhalants. Inhalants are volatile substances that produce chemical vapors that can be inhaled to induce or psychoactive or mild altering effects. Altering effects असते, mostly they are inhaled by nose or mouth. What are the street names? Now they are readily available in hardware shops like Febibond, petrol, glue, thinner, aerosol, whitener, paint polish, remover, or shoe polish. And what are the street names like solutions? Fluid, popper, whisper, air blast, or bolt. Now, many school-going children, we found that these use whitener or Febibond as an addictive substance. And the typical symptom is they give lot of खुन्नस, म्हणजे anger खूप येतो, खूप जास्त violent होतो. Second is stimulant. Now, stimulant, many people will generally use it in day-to-day life, but in a low quantity. Stimulants are substances that raises level of psychological or nervous system activity in the body, and commonly used are coffee, nicotine, cocaine, methamphetamine, and MDMA. And these are the street name we all know. Along with that, there are some hallucinogens. Name itself suggests that they will cause hallucinations after the use. And some of the hallucinations are LSD, that is acid or dot or blotter acid. Then ketamine. Ketamine is known as K or special K or Valium, cat Valium. Along with this, some patients use sedatives. Sedatives are the class of drug that depresses or slow down the central nervous system. This substance class encompasses a wide variety of drugs, the most common of which includes benzodiazepine, barbiturate, and prescription hypnotics or sleep aids. So these are basically used by physicians or psychiatrists. And there is dependency of all these sedatives also, like benzodiazepine, sleeping pills, barbiturates. Barbiturates are commonly used as anti-epileptic drugs, but after a regular use, one can become addicted to these barbiturates also. Then date rape drug. Name itself suggests that after giving this drug, one becomes so incapable that he doesn't remember the incidents, and which lead to the facilitated sexual assault, including rape. So what are the examples of this drug? Rohypnol, which is also known as rope or roche, and THB, which is also known as goop or liquid E. Then ketamine is also used as a rape drug. Then sometimes some people use this cobra venom as an addiction. They are used to get bite of the cobra on their tongues, and after this bite they become suddenly there will be the nervous system activity and they become unconscious. Then other common addictions are iodine sandwich. The iodine is used as painkiller, but sometimes many students, specifically in exam period, they use this iodine sandwich to remain awake for studies. Then there are other strange addictions like Rizaltel. Rizaltel is then inhaling fumes or burning lizard tails, powder of the dried lizard tails, and they use it to kill biddies for the smoking. Then lastly, mephentermine. Mephentermine. It is basically used for the bodybuilding. It is a cardiac stimulant. So this mephentermine is also an addictive substance. Basically, it gives very high after the use. So thank you. We have covered most of the substance in a very hurry. So we will discuss about some questions now.
Uh, Thank you, Karmik sir, for the wonderful session. And I think we can take questions. Swapnil sir, I so there's a question for you. What tips should an alcoholic patient follow to overcome nutritional deficiency, and which vitamins play important role in this process?
Okay, I prefer giving them combination. Usually, it depends on chronicity of alcohol use. So, commonly high doses of multivitamin, like on a OPD basis, I usually prefer using Neurobion or Optineuron twice a day with thiamine tablet as an additional supplement, protein supplements, and for a month or two, B12 and D3 supplements also.
Okay.
So cocktails always work, and high doses of thiamine with a good amount of all multivitamins work here well.
So thiamine, generally you prefer it in OD dose or a BD dose?
If patient, I always prefer giving them Neurobion Fort on twice a day basis, which already contains thiamine. So additionally, if it is required, I prescribe them 100 milligram thiamine once in a day basis. If there is no sign and symptoms of Korsakoff's or Wernicke's, then if patient is presenting with Wernicke's or Korsakoff, I prefer using twice a day thiamine doses on very long run.
Okay. I think, sir, the next question goes for Kalmek, sir. What role does family play in de-addiction process of a patient addicted to drugs? What's the role of the family, basically, sir? We occur in de-addiction centers. What is the role of the family in the de-addiction process?
Okay. So de-addiction is basically teamwork. There is a role of patient also. There is a role of psychiatrist, counselor, and family also. So family should be very much supportive during the de-addiction, and they need to understand that this is a disease of mind, not only his bad habit. This is the basic philosophy. They need to accept first that this is the disease and it is curable. Plus, need to be very patient about the treatment also, because for any de-addiction treatment, it needs about 4 to 6 months for the recovery. So that much patience they need. So two basic things, that they should be supportive, and second is that they should have acceptance about the disease.
And sir, any role of support groups for the family?
Yeah, there are some support groups like Alcoholic Anonymous. There is Al-Anon. So wife of these alcoholic patients or narcotic dependent patients, they come together, they share their experiences, and from that experiences they learn many things, that how to handle these patients, how to predict their behavior. So, and there is psychology, these groups are psychologically beneficial to these families also.
Okay. Okay. Sir, Swapnil sir, Dr. Shailesh wants to ask you, what are the chances that an alcoholic will suffer from neuropathy and how to manage the neuropathy?
Okay, so actually, developing neuropathy is very common in chronic alcoholism. The basic reason is again same, that multivitamin deficiency is very common. They usually have long-term chronic gastritis, which interferes with uh, uh, multivitamin or B complex absorption. So usually we prefer continuing them multivitamins, B12, thiamine, and other multivitamin on a long run basis to take care of alcohol-induced neuropathic changes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So the next question can be answered by either of you. Is it possible that the person having addiction can live a normal life again? And if it is possible, can you share some examples from your OPD basis or your Kalmexer from your de-addiction center basis?
Yeah. We know that the recovery rate is very less, but there is always a hope for such patients. I have seen very few patients that they have gone to their daily routine and their work frequently. Now, what happens? We have to rehabilitate these patients in a different way. We have to find out their hobbies, and accordingly, we have to uh, rehabilitate them. Now, I can share one story, that there is one IIT guy. Uh, Plus, he is a PhD in PhD from the IIT. Now he was having cannabis dependence. Now we have rehabilitated him to our rehabilitation center only, and now he is handling all our technical activities. So such rehabilitation we have to do, and it is possible.
Swapnil sir, any OPD level success stories of patient handling their alcohol and returning to their normal life?
Yes, we do have so many patients actually. So I personally feel that it depends on comorbidity. You need to identify whether there is any reason for his drinking pattern, whether his personality is responsible, whether there is any comorbidity which is pushing him towards alcoholism. And addressing that comorbidity can definitely improve, maintaining abstinence on a long run. Though the chances of relapse are high, the success rate is low, as Dr. Balchandra said. But then still, there are many patients who are maintaining well without addiction. You need to keep them motivated, keep them busy, keep them engaged, and deal with it as a disorder. It is treatable for sure.
And so the last question comes as what is the potential of mindfulness and meditation in the path of recovery of addiction?
Definitely, it plays a role, especially as I said that if patient is having some or other comorbidity, which is more towards anxiety disorder and other psychological conditions, definitely it helps. If patient is having difficulty in coping up or handling stress, definitely it helps. If patient is having multiple stressors which are pushing him towards relapse, definitely it helps. So mindfulness, relaxation, and other behavioral techniques can take care of things which could push patient towards relapse. So definitely that is a helpful way of preventing relapse.
Balchandra sir, do you follow this meditation and the mindfulness techniques in your inpatient rehabilitation process?
Yes, yes, surely. We have special sessions in the morning hours from 6:30 to 7:30 that we do yoga, then we do meditation. So all these techniques are very useful for to prevent the anxiety about addiction also, and for long-term treatment also. And there is one relapse is a road toward recovery. So don't worry about the relapses. Relapse will definitely happen, but ultimately they will lead to the recovery.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think we have come to the end of the session, and I would like to give a vote of thanks. Indeed, it was a fabulous session for the monthly series of that is organized by IPA and PPA for which is known as Satya Badana. I will thank Dr. Swapnil Deshmukh sir for explaining the entire topic of alcohol dependence in such a simplified format and answering all the questions. I will also thank Dr. Karmik sir for this fabulous session. And I will thank all the psychiatrists, colleagues, friends, psychologists, social workers, and everyone attending this session and making it a success. I will thank Mahesh Apar, Anirban Mitra, Bilal, and Shruti from the center and the entire center team for constantly supporting and organizing such webinars. So thank you. I will ask Shruti to take over, I think.
Yes, sir. So once again, I thank IPS Pune branch and PPA for once again giving us this opportunity to host such huge names of psychiatry world. I would like to thank our speakers for tonight, that is Dr. Swapnil Deshmukh sir and Dr. Bhalchandra Karmik sir, for such an interesting topic and such a lucid talk that they gave on it. We know that whenever someone is going through addiction, that person becomes a different personality altogether. So you are doing a very noble work of giving back the family man, giving back the husband, giving back the son, or giving back the wife or daughter back to the family. So it's a very noble cause that you do, and we are very thankful and grateful to you for that. I would also like to thank Dr. Yogesh Pokale for smooth flow of events and moderating today's session. And I would like to thank all the fraternity present here today, all the participants for being present in today's session. I hope that this session will give you lots of learnings which will be helpful for you in your future endeavors. And we at Centaur Pharma will always be your trusted scientific partner and keep bringing such informative sessions even in future. And please do keep giving your prescription support, as Centaur is India's #1 psychotropic API manufacturer and second largest in the world. And we have brought Isentopam, which is export quality escitalopram 5, 10, 20 mg tablets to bring back the essence of life in your depressed patients. We also have Isentopam Plus, a combination of escitalopram 10 mg and clonazepam 0.5 mg tablets. So once again, I thank everyone for attending today's session. And this is Shruti Shettigar from marketing team of Centaur Pharmaceuticals signing off for tonight. Please take care of yourself and your loved ones because you matter. Good night.
Good night, and thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night.